Willow Creek Springs presents Healthy Living with your host, Joe Grumbine.
Hello and welcome back to the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine, and today we've got a special guest. His name is Ty Gibson, and Ty's got quite a story. He's a lifelong diabetic type 1 and recipient of 3 organ transplants. And I could probably just leave it right there. He's got a great story to tell us and what he's done with his overcoming obstacles and what he's done with it. So, Ty, welcome to the show. We've spent a couple of little glitches trying to get together, and I suspect we're going to have a great conversation. Welcome to the show.
Yeah, Joe, thanks for your patience. I mean, I'm extremely excited to be here. Thank you.
Excellent, excellent. So, your little intro really has got a gigantic story behind it. I'm kind of itching to hear what you have to say. Why don't you just jump on into it? Tell us a
Yeah,
little
well,
about your story.
you know, absolutely, Joe, and thank you again. I have really had a lifelong of just different things, adversity, but everybody does. Everybody's got a story, and so and I just want to encourage. My hope is today that we can encourage somebody through my story and just helping others. But it starts back as you brought it up at the age of 8, I was diagnosed with juvenile diabetes.
Wow,
And
that's rough for a kid, huh?
yeah, it was, and especially back. So here's I'm gonna age me a little bit here, Joe. But this was back in the '70s where the technology wasn't quite what it is today, right? So,
Right.
um, in the '70s down in Southeast Texas is where I grew up, and no one in my family had ever had diabetes, so we didn't really understand it. We didn't know a whole lot about it, but I had really brittle diabetes. I mean, it was all over the board. They were struggling to try to get it controlled. So eventually, over a 2-year span, I mean, there were some really close calls, and I mean, they didn't know a lot of times if I was even going to get through them, just because of the such highs and lows, and couldn't wake me up, and I mean, just really crazy, out of control diabetes, and but my parents got me over to a specialist in Houston, Texas, at the Texas Children's Hospital,
Okay.
where they were doing some research, actually. And now, keep in mind, this was the '70s, but
Right.
they were doing some research on a chemotherapy machine, a little pump that they were putting insulin in, and it was a syringe pump, but they would put the syringe in, and it would give insulin throughout the day, anyway, this thing was a pound 9 ounces, and so I was put over there on the research floor to really try to get this diabetes regulated. And
Wow.
so it was really interesting. I mean, now I wouldn't say it was easy by no means, because you're trying to regulate, but being in the hospital on the floor, there was some great care, some great doctors that were able to try to maneuver through all this and really get me some better control. Now, fast forward over the years, I had my battles, different pumps. As we know, different insulin pumps have gotten smaller and smaller, and better and better, and technology and all these things. And also keep in mind just the way we were checking our blood sugars back then. Pricking the fingers. Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you how many times a day my fingers were purple pretty much all the time, because I was always checking that. But so I was able to get somewhat control, and the pumps again changed over the years. And then I'm going to fast forward at the age of 30. I was feeling rough. I was working in Austin, Texas is where I was at, and I couldn't hardly um get through the day. So I finally went to the doctor and I said, "Hey, I don't know what's going on." He says, "Well, I'll tell you what's going on. You've lost your kidney function."
Oh
He said,
no.
"It's very low, and it's just." He said, "But here's the deal, Ty. This was in 1999." And he said, "But there's a doctor out in Baltimore, Maryland, that's doing a dual transplant." He said he's doing kidney and a pancreas at the same time.
Wow.
And he said, "Let's get you out there and see if you qualify for this research surgery, right?" So we get out there. I qualify. And everything's good, and I'm a candidate for this surgery. Now, keep in mind, I'm getting a kidney and a pancreas. So my mother, who's 60 at the time, she said, "Ty, I feel like it's my role to. I have two kidneys. We've been given two kidneys. God gave us two kidneys. So you can have one of them. So,
Wow.
and so, if she said if the doctors approve it and all that, and it's a good match, then I want to donate. So that was great. But then, as you know, we've got to wait for a pancreas
Right.
from a deceased donor, right? So all that to say, my mom gets matched. We get ready. We get on the list. I'm continuing to work. I did not want to go on dialysis. I was trying to keep from going on dialysis because at the time they were saying they were having better results if they of patients that were not previously on dialysis. And so my goal was not to go on dialysis. So I was fighting really hard. And I'll tell you, it went over about an 8-month span. I went through all this. And then I finally, I would come home at 6 o'clock in the evening and go to bed and just try to get through the day the next day. So taking naps at lunches and just to try to get through it. And I finally came back and I went to the doctor and I said, I don't think I can go anymore. And he said, well, let's get the stent in and they put that in and we got ready for dialysis. That was on a Thursday. That following Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday, I get a call at midnight from Baltimore, and they go, "Hey, it looks like we've got a pancreas ready. It looks like there's obviously been a tragedy in someone's family,
Right.
but what was an organ donor, and they donated their organs, and it looks like it's a match. So let's get mobilized. So we're down in Texas, so we all get to Baltimore. We had bags packed ready to go. So and it was kind of like the movies. I always say we hurry up and wait and
Sure.
get run through the
Absolutely.
hospital and all that. But we got there, and so if you can, I'm in the middle surgical room. My mother's in one, and then they're working on the organ in the other. 16 hours later, a successful surgery. My mother was waiting on me when she got out. When I woke up in recovery, she was sitting there in a wheelchair, which was amazing.
Wow.
But what the really cool thing was, and I always this is the doctor said when they were trying to sew the kidney in, that it started working, which was
Wow.
absolutely a miracle and amazing all at the same time. And
Wow.
I'm always so thankful for these doctors and nurses and all these medical folks that are just extra that do amazing things. So all that to say, I come out of the surgery and I feel better. But here's the thing: I was taking 65 pills a day.
Oh.
So you got to take all the anti-rejections, obviously, to keep my immune system down. And then I think half of them were probably meds just that were, to keep the side effects of the other drugs,
I know. Yeah. Yeah. It's the whole cocktail conundrum that
Yeah, yeah,
modern
definitely.
medicine has. They could do a miracle and put somebody else's kidney in you, but then you got to support the pharmaceutical industry for the rest of your life.
That's right. That's so true. So, and they said it's going to be a little bit, but here was the deal. They'd only did a couple of these surgeries, and a couple of them didn't work. There was a
Right.
few, they had a little bit of success, but not all of them. So when I left that night, I wasn't sure really what I was walking into or if what I was going to be walking out of it. You know what I'm saying? It really, because obviously, as you know, you got to go through all this, worst case scenario things, right? And so, your mind is really just all over the place. At the time, I had a 6-year-old daughter, and so to walk out that night was really challenging because you just don't know. You don't know, is that the last time I'm going to see her? Is it, you don't know, right? Is that and so it was really a really mental struggle as well through that time. Now, after that year, I felt amazing. But here's what happened. We talked about someone donated an organ. Because of that, I was able to get married. I was able to adopt my daughter. I was able to start a business. So I always try to, at this moment in the story, I always try to tell people, whatever we're dealing with, whatever walls in front of us, it's worth the climb. It's
100%.
absolutely
That's
worth the
smart.
climb. Because you know, I I always say, and I don't know how I got through it, and I wrote down, and I've gone back since and kind of really put together some three quick steps that try to help people through adversity. But I also again was raised in, my dad raised me where nobody wants to hear your problem. Dust off, boy, you'll be all
Right.
right. Dust
It's
off,
so
you know. You
true. I
remember
mean,
those
we
days.
grew up in the same family.
Yeah, put a Band-Aid on, it'll be all right, you know. And I'm
Exactly.
like,
You'll be all
Dad, it's
right.
falling
Brush it
off.
off.
And I'll put a Band-Aid.
Going. Yeah.
So, so it was just one of the, I grew up that way. So I mean, and at the time, I would tell you this, at the time, I wasn't real thankful of it, but I really believe that was equipping me for the journey I had ahead of me.
Sure.
You know, and it really, I think that mentality and that mindset really helped me push through some of the things. And I believe that, I believe that now. I think a lot of our obstacles and our things that we run into, all they're really doing is getting us, they're preparing us and teaching us for things to come ahead.
I could not agree more. I think that, today we got helicopter parents and people coddling everybody. And I'm like, how's that kid going to take care of themselves when they get older? You gotta brush yourself off. You got to get the scraped knee and the
Right.
bonked head and the chipped tooth and all the stuff we all got as kids. And we kept going.
Yep. Well, and that's kind of what I always just try to encourage through that. But the story, Joe, really doesn't end there. I mean, it keeps going. So as we know, organs don't last forever.
Hmm.
For 12 years, I didn't have diabetes. My pancreas lasted for 12 years.
Wow. What
So,
a
and
blessing
that's
though to live a different life from.
wow. I mean, that was amazing in itself because I had no idea what having diabetes just felt like.
Yeah.
But I was able, and I think I've been one of the few that have been able to see what it's like before
Right.
and after, and then now I'm back. Obviously only lasted 12 years, so I'm
Right.
back as a diabetic. So it's been a really interesting walk through that, because I things that I didn't realize I felt bad about as a diabetic. Wow, you do. I mean, diabetes is a really mean disease, especially if you're
Right.
not controlling it. But just even when you thought you were feeling good,
Yeah.
you 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 uh, you have, as a diabetic, they're dealing with a lot more than the normal average person. But so
Sure.
with that said, the pancreas lasted 12 years, and then my mother's kidney now lasted 20 years. And
Wow.
so now we are in, 2019, into 2019, and my kidneys start to fail again. Now, at this time, I've got a business that's got 45 plus employees. I mean, we're rolling. And again, I was one of these guys that really, I mean, my employees didn't even know what I was going through all this. I mean, because I just wasn't the one that really shared it.
Right.
It wasn't that if I would have known it would help people, I would have absolutely shared it. But
Right.
more importantly, it was kind of that, as I was raised, to just dust it off, right? Put a Band-Aid on it. Nobody wants to
Yeah,
hear your
it's not
problem.
really their business. I mean,
That's right.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I can see it through that lens.
Yeah. So anyway, so 20 years, immediately they put me on dialysis because I just couldn't go. I mean, it was when that pancreas, I mean, when that kidney stopped, it stopped. So
Wow.
I was put on dialysis. And I tell you this, and I don't know what faith people are or whatever. I'm a Christian, and I'll tell you, I was if you ever go by a dialysis center, I mean, I just say a prayer to because those people, there's some really hopeless people in there, and there's people that are doing miracle work, but it's just, you think about it, people are sitting in there waiting for an organ to match them so that they can live a normal life.
Right. No, I've known a few people that have gone through
Uh,
dialysis. It
it's
was
hard.
brutal. Yeah, I just went through chemotherapy, and I just overcame cancer,
Mm,
that almost killed me. So it's a similar story, but very
yeah.
different. But I went through a pump and all of that stuff too. And the thing is, the when you're sitting there in a place like that and literally just, that's all it's doing is keeping you alive. It's not
Yeah.
fixing you. It's not holding. It's
That's
just holding
exactly right.
place, and you got to go through and just suffer. And man, it could be disparaging, but like you said, that's also a place where God hangs out. Hi, this is Joe Grumbine, and I wanted to share an update. The platform that hosts this podcast has made some changes to the subscriber settings, and we have a number of subscriber-only episodes that we offer to the supporters, and for a minimum of $3 a month, we can get you signed up. And if you're already signed up and you're having some kind of trouble locating these episodes in the other platforms, I would say maybe the best answer is to unsubscribe and then resubscribe. I'm sorry for the hassle. I don't have any way to make a change, but I'm very grateful for all the support. Thank you.
That's right. You're right. You're absolutely right. And it's I don't know if you've ever been in one, but I mean it's just a room with recliners in it, and you get hooked up, and someday you go and you become really good friends with all these folks because you're there every day. Every other day I would go from 4:30 in the morning till 9, and then I would go to work, and then I'd go to work and I would try to be to rally our troops and keep our guys, act like nothing's wrong, and until about 3:30, and then I'd hit a wall and I have to go home, but so my sister now was a match for this second kidney. So I was super excited about that. We were going through the testing and all that. And then they came back right there at the end and said, there's something with her kidney that's not, that won't work.
Oh, no.
So I get on dialysis, and that was really a challenge because we were set up to do this.
Right.
And then so my wife says, look, I'm a different blood type, but I want to go donate my kidney, and then in return somebody else donates theirs, and it moves me up to the front, so that I could possibly get a matched kidney sooner than later.
They had a system like that.
Yeah, and it's really a kind of a bank where you can donate and get moved up and all this. So so she went and did that, and then so that day I was at work, and she calls and she's just crying, and I'm like, what is wrong? I mean, I'm talking like couldn't hardly talk, and I'm like, what is wrong? My thought was, okay, she's been in an accident. What's happening?
Yeah, something horrible.
And she says, Ty, I match you exactly. And I was like, what? So 6 weeks later, I received my wife's kidney.
Wow.
And let me tell you what, I don't have enough tokens in the world on Mother's Day with my mom, who's 85 now, still living, and my wife. I
was going to say, I bet you don't win any argument ever.
No, I don't. What I've learned really well is yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I'll bet. That's a good situation for that. Wow, you got me in tears a little bit. That's cool.
But so now it's been 5 years, and here's the beautiful thing. A year and a half ago, about 2 years ago now, we were at a family reunion, and my wife said, Ty, would you mind telling the story? A lot of them want to ask. And I said, if they want to hear my problems, I'll be glad to tell them. And so I told the story, and I was telling them all that. And on the way back, I got like 5 texts from people that were there and said, hey, you know what? We're going to sign up to the organ. Thanks for sharing your story.
Wow.
And at that moment, I said, why am I being so selfish? Right. If I can help people by simply telling my story.
100%.
So another point I want to make is, we all have a story. Mm-hmm. And I would tell you, this world we live in is tough. Mm-hmm. And we need to lock arms with each other, put our arms around each other and try to help through it. So I always encourage people, whatever you're dealing with, we're all dealing with something. Mm-hmm. But whatever that wall is in front of you, I'll tell you this, it costs $0 to fix it. Mm-hmm. If you guys go look in the mirror, it's you. It's our choice. It's us that can make that. And I want to say this is what's really cool. That 6-year-old girl that I walked out of that room and not sure if I was ever going to see her again, I got to walk down the aisle last month.
Oh man! Wow.
So so that's why I'm on fire about like just helping people and encourage people. We can do it. Yes. You can get through it. And here's the thing I didn't like. People say, well, how'd you get through it? Was you a positive thinker? Positive thinking is just a word that I don't really understand. Go be a positive thinker, right? Yeah. So I really boiled down, and if you don't mind, I want to tell you real quick my 3 steps.
Sure.
First one, I always say when I run into a adversity, and I encourage people to write this down because it's really worked for me. Mm-hmm. Is the first question I ask: do I want to grow or die? Right. Grow or die? That's what we do, right? So do we want to get better? And when I say die, I don't mean death of a person. I mean death of a purpose, a
Right.
goal, a dream. And find your why. Whoever it is that is your family, is it your spouse, is it your partner, whatever that looks like to you.
Hmm.
That's the why. You need to know why. So that's what you do. You grow or you die. Number two is hope or despair. That's how we think, right? Are we going to be, because they could have been it's so easy to say, God, why, I mean, why me? Why am I getting three
Right.
done? Why have I had to do this? And why did I have diabetes today? There's, why, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And kind of that victim thing, right? Get rid of that. Number three is humor or drama, and that's how we talk. So
Yeah.
when we go out, we're going through these problems. If we're always talking about, can you believe this happened to me? Can you believe that? Here's the thing: if you those small three steps, think about those,
Hmm.
and when you align those three, it's going to force you to be a positive thinker.
Agreed.
So take the small, I always say, if we get 1% better every day, just think how much, that'll
Hey,
quote,
moving
right?
forward. Absolutely.
So if we can take those smaller steps, if we can grow instead of dying,
Hmm.
if we can have hope instead of despair,
Right.
take that a little bit, but be a positive thinker. But
Yeah.
it's do, think, and talk. So what are we doing? How are we thinking? And what are we talking about are the three things that will create positive thinking.
I couldn't agree
Um,
more. We are what we talk about. We are what we think about, and
that's right.
that's a choice we have every single minute of every single day.
Yeah. And then, like I said a while ago, we have what it takes.
Yes.
It's our positive, our mind is powerful.
Oh yeah.
And sometimes we just got to look in the mirror and go, am I going to make, buckle up kind of thing, right? In fact, I think I posted the other day and I got a lot of comments on it. And it said, um, um, quit complaining and let's go,
There you go. I love that.
and I think that's what we need to do. I really
Yeah,
do in a lot of cases. Sometimes let's quit making excuses or being, the victim on the things and let's make it happen,
I
do
love
something.
that.
So, but anyway, that's kind of my story, Joe. And I really, at the end of the day, I just hope I can encourage people to get through it. But because of telling that story at the family reunion and people, is why I'm doing it today
Yeah.
because I saw it help people, and it's
Hmm.
been amazing how many people that have reached out since I've been doing it, and so that's why I'm here today, and I just want to be an encourager because it it sometimes it takes somebody, find your friends, find somebody, call me, it don't matter, but find somebody to help get through because you can get through it. And on the other side of that is some amazing things.
I could not agree more. Ty, I tell you what, we have such a parallel experience. I mean, my last year and a half of dealing with cancer mirrors so much of what you were talking about, and I'm just lockstep with your thinking when it comes to that. And that's really what this podcast is all about. Is bringing people with stories that are real and sharing with people. When somebody goes through an adversity, I think a lot of people feel like they're all alone, like nobody
Yeah.
understands their situation. And when you can listen to, a show like this, listen to somebody like you or like me, I have people reach out to me now every week, multiple times a week that have cancer, and they ask me about, what can I do? And I share my story and things I've learned. And that's what you can do with an adversity. And I applaud you. I think you've really uh, taken the tool you were given and you're using it. I think you're probably just getting started.
And we're human, right? So, and I say we're all dealing. I hate that when I hear the statement, oh, they've been so lucky, and these people have been, how they. I'll tell you what, behind that luck
Right.
is someone probably putting in a lot of work that
A
we
lot
don't
of
see.
hard work usually behind every lucky person. Yep.
That's right. So
Good.
don't, I would just say, it's up to you and you got the tools, right? I mean, there's no cost to your positive, to your mind.
100%. Well, I was about to ask you if you had a central thought, a parting thought to leave with our listeners, but almost seems like you might have just made it. But certainly, if you want to wrap it around and come up with one central point, I mean, I think you're nailing it.
Yeah, well, just and again, I really appreciate what you're doing, Joe, because and I would encourage people because no one know you don't know what your friends, your neighbors always are going through,
Hmm.
and when we can help and be a positive light in people's life, I encourage you to do it because they need it. We need it, and a lot of people that we don't even know need it.
Oh,
You know, I
absolutely.
mean, I've found out through this some of my really good friends needed to hear, and I didn't have no idea they needed this. So just don't always think you understand what everybody's dealing with because I think sometimes just visiting with them, sharing your story and your challenges, um, and it helps. Believe me, it's therapy for yourself.
Oh, it helps everybody involved.
It does.
You
So
know what's
don't be like me and try to dust it off and put a band-aid on it. Let
exactly.
everybody know.
It has its merits, but certainly not a way to live.
That's right.
Know.
That's so
I
true.
think for people to realize that some of the difficult people in your life, the people that are angry or mean or sad or whatever the thing that causes you to go reel back a little bit, usually they got something wrong that they're hurting or struggling with and they don't know how to deal with it. And
Right.
I think somebody's got to be the guy doing the right thing.
Yeah, and again, it's sometimes I don't know what everybody's dealing with something different adversity, and some of these walls seem like they can't get over,
Right.
and I know they feel big, and a lot of times I looked up that mountain and didn't think I could get over it too, but
Hear
I'll
you.
tell you, it's small steps. Don't try to tackle it all in one day.
Just keep
Take small
going.
steps, and you'll be surprised how quick you get up there.
Agreed. Agreed. Well, Ty, if I suspect there's going to be listeners that hear this show when we publish it, and they're like, "Man, I need to talk to this guy." How would somebody get a hold of you?
Well, first of all, I would love that, and I hope I resonate with somebody. But I have my website, Joe, is Ty Gipson, and that's TYGIP as in Paul SON.com. But on that website, it's got a lot of information. I do public speaking.
Nice.
And that's been my thing. But recently got into the podcasting, which I love it because I'm getting to meet all these great people.
Heck yeah.
But TyGibson.com on that website, Joe, it has my email, it has my cell phone. If you guys
Nice.
want to call me, I will love to have a conversation if I can encourage somebody, or if somebody's got an event that they need a group or a sales team or whatever it may be that needs some encouraging. I'll be glad to be there.
Fantastic. Well, Ty, this has been an absolute pleasure, as I knew it would. And again, I know as you're cruising along, there's going to be more to talk about. I certainly welcome you to come back anytime, and I just want
I'd
to
love
thank you
to.
for being here with us.
I'm so thankful, Joe. And again, if you don't mind, I meant to say, please go follow me on that social media. I don't. They tell me all the time I got to make sure I ask for that.
Oh, absolutely. You bet.
LinkedIn, TikTok, even. I mean, it's all. I'm on all of that. But Spotify has my Ty Gibson No Options Mindset podcast.
Nice.
Um, and it's hopefully if willing, we'll get Joe on mine. So that would
Oh,
be
I would love to. Yeah, you had some kind of a big intake thing that I was like, I was still finishing out my chemo when I looked at that. I'm like, you know what, let's just schedule it. But I'm always willing to come out.
okay. That's awesome. Yeah, if I can help anybody, y'all let me know. But Joe, thank you again for what you're doing. I really believe we need more Joes out there to
Well, we
help
need more Joes
put
and more
our
ties. Absolutely.
well, good. I hope so.
Excellent. Well, on that note, this has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Grumbine. I want to thank all of our listeners for making this show possible, and we will see you next time. This has been another episode of the Healthy Living Podcast. We produce this show so that people can share their stories, people that have overcome obstacles, people that are undergoing obstacles. We're building a community of health-minded individuals. If you're interested in supporting the show, please leave a review on the platform you're listening to it on. If you're interested in becoming a guest, please send an email to itsjoegrumbine@gmail.com, or you can send a note into the notes section of the podcast. All right. Well, thank you for supporting this show, and we hope you've enjoyed it.